Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode for the Coaching Conversations podcast. Now, we are on Stitcher, we are on iTunes, and multiple different channels. Please check us out. Now, one of the things that you'll get out of our podcast episodes is a lot of content, a lot of strategy. It's not fluff, it's not concept, yet we really want you to engage with the content and let us know your feedback. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. If there's topics you'd love to have us address, we would love to share them with you. Let us know your impact and let us know your feedback. After 30 plus years of teaching leaders how to coach, I still get the question, what's the purpose of coaching? Why do our leaders need to coach? Our people are really, really busy. And I always think about that objection of how to handle it because I immediately want to go to it can improve your culture, it can help leaders, it can help employees. Yet, when we really think about coaching at its most fundamental level, let's honestly look at a sports analogy. If you have kids and use sports, would you honestly go up to your kids' coach and say, my son or daughter only plays games. They don't practice. They don't do anything to improve. They have no application. They have no time for application of what you're teaching them. They're just going to come and play. Now, the first immediate reaction of someone hearing that's going to immediately say, well, sports is different than the workplace. What's not different is the fundamentals of how people improve. First, you need knowledge. How do I make a good decision? How do I handle a conversation, a conflict? Then we need to practice it. Do we honestly think somebody who practices conversations, a conflict, is going to be less likely or less skilled than someone who never practices such conversations? The other day, I had a leader ask me about decision-making. I've got an employee who just won't pull the trigger. They always come through me. They always want me to make the decisions. And I said, do you? And he said, well, yeah. And I said, so you own it. They don't. You want them to own it, but you've chosen to own it. He said, yeah, I have. And I said, so how do you facilitate practice around decision-making? He said, what do you mean? So you know the answer. He's not doing it. And that's okay. I said, have you thought about giving a weekly case study to get insight to their critical thinking skills? He said, no, that's a great idea. Now, great guy, wonderful guy. And I said, I'd like to use this in my next podcast. And he was fully aware. So when he listens to this, I'll get an email. But I said, think about it. Decision-making's terrifying to people. What if I make the wrong decision? We all know there's no guarantee of the right decision every time. So if you don't practice it, you won't do it. If you're not skilled or confident, you probably will find a way to transfer it to somebody else, like this leader. So if you have somebody who is doing public speaking, they have to give a speech. And oh, by the way, the CEO is going to be in attendance. Do we honestly think somebody is going to show up that day, not write out an outline, not practice, not know what they're going to talk about, and just get up there and wing it? Of course not. So when we think about coaching at its most fundamental level, so when you think about it, we also have to be very conscientious of one major fact. Coaching is communication. If leaders are already talking to their employees, they're communicating. Embed coaching. I hear it all the time. Well, I have a weekly check-in with my people. Doesn't that sound wonderful? A warm, friendly check-in? What do we do at check-ins? And there's nothing wrong with a check-in, by the way, even though I said that sarcastically. But a check-in is not coaching. It's usually an agenda. It's usually a checklist of things that need to be done or haven't been done or are in the process of being done. That is not coaching. Coaching is about increasing someone's knowledge. It's about facilitating practice so they improve their skills and using positive reinforcement to build confidence. Now, what's the end result of that? Talent development, talent retention, easier to recruit to the organization. Now, before somebody says, well, wait, that's the training department's responsibility. Great, if it's the training department's responsibility, do me a favor, have them do the end of the year review, not you as a leader. Now, I know I sound crass right now. I know I sound agitated. I'm not agitated, yet think about it fundamentally. And I'll tell you my opinion. The number one reason people don't want to coach us. They don't know how to do it and they don't know what to say. They will come up with every reason. I recently had a vice president of a wealth management company said, well, this is really simple stuff that you teach. Now, we hadn't gotten to the advanced stuff. I said, yeah, it's simple stuff. You want to practice? And he immediately had a facial expression change. He said, well, why do you want to practice? I said, well, I love to practice. And the reason I like to practice is it gives me insight to teach things. It gives me insight where I need to improve. And I said, when you say that it's pretty simple, I guess my question is, do you practice it? Are you comfortable doing that right now? He said, well, you're not giving me a lot of time to prepare. And I said, so when an employee knocks on your door, do you tell them to go away because you want more time to prepare? He said, no, great point, and really nice guy. And I said, coaching is a skill. So fundamentally, if we know what to do, we have knowledge. If we have skill because we've practiced it, we will become more confident people. It's that simple. I want to give you this analogy. And I remember when I was coaching my son in a community basketball league. Kids are like 8, 9 years old. And I had a dad that was so offensive towards his son. And he would yell when he would miss free throws and he would scream at him and he, just testosterone flying. This is a rec league. This isn't even a competitive league. And all of a sudden I said, I want to talk to you after the game. And the guy goes, well, my kid's got to practice. And I said, I understand he's got to practice. He's 8. He missed a free throw and you screamed when he airballed it. What do you think is going through his mind? He goes, well, I don't care. I want my kid to learn. And I said, so you don't care? Do me a favor. Handed him a basketball. I said, come with me. Went to the free throw line. I said, hold this, stay here. Turned around. Some parents were still in the gym. And I said, I won't use his real name. And I said, Bob's going to show us how to shoot a free throw. I said, go ahead. Everybody's watching you. And what I did is I flipped the script. Basically, I put him on the stage his kid was at. By the way, at the age of 8. I said, by the way, don't you miss that free throw. And I mimicked him. This man was so red. He put the ball down, walked out of the gym, never came back again. Funny thing was, this kid started to become a pretty good ball player. And I'll never forget that. And I said, think about it. That's a big stage. So if you don't practice it, that stage gets really big. Coaching is a stage. It's a stage we're already on. We're already having private one-on-ones. We're already having end-of-the-year reviews. Think about if you were scheduling your people weekly, bi-weekly, and the end-of-the-year review came versus not having those meetings. Wouldn't the end-of-the-year review go better because they have a better insight to what their performance has been like, what your likes and dislikes are, your expectations met and maybe even not met? Wouldn't the employee benefit? Wouldn't that endeavor become so much easier? Coaching is not an in addition to endeavor thing. It's an element of what we already do, and that's communicate. Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagen and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21-day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.